So if you've got one of these countertop or portable ice makers, maybe there's one like this, or maybe there's one that looks very similar, you probably know how tricky they can be to clean, especially when you're trying to get into the back there where the ice is made. It's not very easy. And today I'm going to show you how I made my countertop ice maker like 1,000 times easier to clean, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So the problem is, as you likely already know, it is pretty difficult to get into the back of the machine where the ice tray is and to get that area properly cleaned. I mean, why couldn't there be some quick and easy way to remove the top cover so that we can get inside to clean there properly? Well, it turns out there actually is. And the top of my machine lifts completely off in less than 5 seconds, and I've got access to everything inside, and it's really, really easy to clean. So why does the top of my machine lift off so easily, but the top of your machine doesn't? Well, I made some small modifications to this machine, and I'm going to show you how I did that right now. So for this modification, I first need to unplug the machine and then remove the back cover. And to do this, I need to remove 6 screws underneath the machine that hold the back cover in place. Now, it's also best not to turn these machines on their side, but rather only tilt them as little as possible. And if you do end up turning it on its side by mistake, stand it upright and let it stand upright for at least 2 hours before turning the machine on, because you do potentially risk damaging the compressor with some of these machines. And after that, I then removed the 4 screws that hold the top cover of the machine in place. Now, 2 of these screws are on the left-hand side of the machine. They're kind of hiding under the top lip, and they are easily removed just using a normal Phillips screwdriver. And the other 2 screws are on the right hand side of the machine, also hiding under the lip, and they also need to be removed. Now, once the 4 screws have been removed, the entire top lid can be lifted off the machine. So now you can see I've got really easy access to clean all the way around the ice tray. And underneath the lid, these are the 4 holes where the screws were removed, and I'll be using these holes later again. So then I went ahead and I took 4 stainless steel screws that are 25 millimeters or 1 inch long, and they are the same diameter as the original screws that we removed out of the lid. 4 millimeters or about 0.15 inches in diameter, and then I cut the heads off of each screw. And of course, not forgetting to file off any of the sharp edges. So now I'm basically left with 4 pins that will be used in place of the original 4 screws that held the top onto the machine. And to finish up this modification, I then screw each of these 4 cut-off screws into the holes where the previous mounting screws came out of. And then that is pretty much it. And now I have a top cover which basically has 4 pins sticking out of it. And these 4 pins drop into the original holes in the top of the machine. So when it's on the machine, it still stays nicely in place, but it can be lifted off the machine to make access and cleaning way easier. If the ice maker has got buttons on the top of the machine and not on the front of the machine, because some brands and some models have their buttons on the top and not on the front, this modification probably will still work. When the lid is lifted off, it probably won't be able to be lifted off and taken away, but it can be lifted off and tilted backwards, because the wires for the control board at the top here, they run through this little hole in the top left side of the machine. There should be enough slack in those wires in order to lift this lid up. Now, when the cleaning is taking place, somebody else might need to hold this top section of lid over here while the cleaning is taking place, but it should still work and it should still be possible. And when removing the lid and cleaning around the top section of the machine, I definitely need to be careful not to get water down this little hole, because that hole goes directly down towards the circuit board. In fact, because my machine doesn't have any wires there, I'm probably just going to close it up with a little bit of duct tape. Now, if this machine had the circuit board or the buttons at the top of the machine, there would be wires coming out of this hole, and I would have to be a lot more careful that I don't spray any water down there while I'm cleaning this section. I do also need to be careful to try and not get water down these gaps on the left and the right hand side of the machine. But what I'm trying to say here is that I'm gently going to take a bottle brush, clean around this area, wipe it off with a soft cloth, and gently spray it down with some water. And doing it gently the way that I've just described with the top of the machine off, I think is still going to be better than what I've seen some people do, where they spray a high pressure jet of water inside underneath the lid here, trying to get the dirt off that you can't really reach. Because that has also got quite a high chance of having water being blasted up over the lip and then down into the inside of the machine. And one last thing that I want to show you is that even though we have removed the 4 screws that hold down the lid, it's still pretty much secure in place. So you can still lift the front section of the lid and gain access to your ice, and you can pop that down. This top section is not just going to blow off in the wind. For it to come off, you've actually got to lift and kind of work it up a little bit, and then it comes off. And what is happening is that these sharp threads here are kind of gripping into the existing plastic hole. So as I said, it's not just like it's going to randomly blow off in the wind. One thing that you might want to keep in mind though, because my machine has got buttons on the front of the machine, there are no wires here. I can't really remember what the machines look like that have got the buttons at the top here and how exposed the wiring is. So this might not be a very good modification for that. But in this case, there is no electrical wiring that is exposed on the top here, and I'm pretty happy to have this modification as it is. And this is something for maybe the manufacturers of these countertop or portable ice makers for future models. Instead of hinging the lid here at the center of the machine, why can't you rather put the hinge point behind where the ice is being made, but in front of where the buttons and the lights would usually go? The reason I say this is because if it hinges here just behind where the ice is made, you can lift the top of the machine, you can still gain access to your ice, but when you need to clean the machine, you can also get easy access to where the ice is being made and where the tray is. But in that case, the wiring and this little board section here can still be kind of cordoned off or blocked off so that you can't get access to it. It just makes this machine a lot easier to clean and a lot more user-friendly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Now, I'm not trying to convince you to do this to your machine. In fact, you probably shouldn't. I'm just showing you what I was happy to do to my machine to make it a whole lot easier to clean. However, if you do end up doing this to your machine, just please note that you are doing this completely at your own risk. If you want to know about the 10 common problems that happen with these machines and how to fix them, you can go ahead and watch this video right here. Otherwise, if you want to watch a video about the complete cleaning procedure for one of these machines and what you need to be careful of that nobody else seems to tell you about, you can go ahead and watch this video right here. Hopefully it is out already, and if it's not, it should be out soon in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in one of those 2 videos. Cheers.